Is this the edge of frame right here? I'm touching it.
मैं डालूं ताल पे भंगड़ा तू भी गिद्दा पाले चले रंग जमा दे हमके बने सभी मत वाले.
And I was just blown away. I'd never met someone who was that perfect blend of American individualism and Indian tradition. During the course of that shoot, honestly, was more and more enamored. So no sooner I just told her, I was like, I have feelings for you. I just felt like a shitty actor, broke down crying. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I don't know why I chose this profession.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have been an investment banker. And in that moment, she was like, no, don't do that. You were always meant to be here. It's those moments where having someone saves you, really saves you. She and I will catch ourselves sometimes looking at each other still and being like, oh, I'm so lucky.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Love Handle, where we get unfiltered about love and relationships. After so long, we are finally able to host Ankur in the studio for Love Handle. Welcome, Ankur.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Ankur Rathee. I am an Indian-American actor. I grew up in the States, born in India. I've been working in India for the last 10 years. I studied cultural anthropology in college and wrote my thesis on the evolution of arranged marriage, tracking choice, courtship practices, and how they've evolved over the last 50 years. And so I have a huge interest in Verona's channel and the conversations that you guys are having on this channel, of course. And I met my wonderful wife 10 years ago. We've been married almost 2.5, 3 years. So let's see if we can dive into this relationship with you.
Yes, I'm really looking forward to it. I'd love to rewind the clock first to before the time that you met Anuja. What mind space were you in while you were dating?
I don't know if it was the influence of my family or Hindi cinema, but I always dated with the idea of marriage in mind. In fact, my first girlfriend, very soon after I was like, oh, I'm in love. The next thought was like, can I see her as my wife?
Right.
You know, it's just always thinking long-term in that way. So for me, I think in some ways I'm an anomaly, at least amongst my peers, the peers I was growing up with. I never just dated for fun, or I never thought of casual dating as something that aligned with kind of my values.
Yeah, absolutely. And to what extent do you feel your personal values contrasted to those of the American culture that you were raised amidst?
I mean, one of the cool things about America is it's such a melting pot. Yeah. So I was surrounded by a lot of other immigrants as well. And there wasn't any one particular value when it came to marriage and relationships. But generally speaking, when I was in my teens or even when I was in my early 20s, definitely I stuck out like a sore thumb. I felt like, oh gosh, culturally, I guess I come from a very different value set than other people.
Yeah. In the Indian culture, marriage is the logical next step to love. So it made sense that you were much more intentional, and even that, I'm sure, played a role in how you selected girlfriends, right? It wasn't like, okay, we'll date for some time and we'll like see where it goes. You were very much like, is this woman going to get along with my mother and my family and my sister, right?
Yeah, I won't lie, like being around the casual dating scene,
right,
that's so, I guess, physically motivated at times.
Yeah.
You know, the idea of like playing the field and having multiple partners and stuff, that's exciting, especially if you're going through those hormonal years and even into your 20s. But I felt like I was objectifying them, those partners too much.
Because it was so dissonant with your hardwiring, right? So let's come to the time that you met your beautiful wife, Anuja. Please take us through your love story. How did you guys meet?
We both met on set. It was a short film, and it was a tribute to 100 years of Hindi cinema. And she was playing the heroine, I was playing the hero, and in the course of that film, through rehearsals, through shooting, even through like marketing and the editing process and whatnot, we just got to spend a lot of time with each other. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I met someone who understood various different facets of myself. Like you'll notice with a lot of NRIs, they are Indian to some extent, but they're not necessarily as grounded in that identity and in those values and in those customs and traditions as much as I was. But Anuja was unique. You know, her family's 4th generation from Mumbai, and she used to go to Mumbai like every summer. She grew up in a family of artists. She had such a respect for the performing arts, and such this immense grace that she would navigate cultural situations with and traditions with. And I was just blown away. I'd never met someone who was that perfect blend of American individualism and Indian tradition and, you know, that community-oriented kind of aspect. During the course of that shoot, honestly, was more and more enamored by her.
Yeah.
Like small little moments. So no sooner I just told her, I was like, I have feelings for you. Luckily, she felt the same. We really let that develop. And I think, like, for most people, my guidance is always that, you know, you should start a relationship from a place of friendship. And that's what we had. We had like a great friendship that developed, a lot of common interests. And sooner or later, like, that turns into something romantic, and that's what happened for us.
Did you ever think that you definitely wanted to date and marry someone of Indian origin? Or was that something that you discovered later you valued because you got to talk about all these things that you had in common?
No, it's oddly enough, like, I wanted someone who would respect my culture and care to learn about it. My first girlfriend was half black, half white. She had such a rich understanding of Indian culture and different facets of Indian culture. And she just respected where I came from and that part of my identity. But it definitely helps. Like, now in hindsight, like, so many things are easier in terms of, like, explaining, once you get married, like, explaining family dynamics, explaining why certain traditions and customs are the way they are, which are often contrary to the way Americans view the coming together of two people.
Yeah. Now you're in this wonderful marriage. To what extent do you feel like having a partner has been the wind beneath your wings in your professional ambitions?
It was maybe a small chapter in my career where work wasn't happening, or the kind of work that I wanted to do wasn't happening. I just felt like a shitty actor. And I just gave a series of auditions, feeling dissatisfied one after the other. Like, oh, I missed the mark. Oh, I wasn't present in the moment. And one day, it got so bad because I was like, "Nee, is baar to main crack karke hi rahunga." And I put in like days of preparation for an audition, and I felt like I sucked. And then she studied direction at NYU Tisch, which is, you know, the best film school in the world. And so she gave me great directorial notes, and I was able to adjust my performance, and I figured it out. And then we called cut, and I just broke down crying. And she's like, what happened? What happened? And I was like, I don't know why I chose this profession.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have been an investment banker. And even now, it just makes me emotional because, like, it's really tough being an artist. Yeah. You're constantly questioning whether you should be doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
A little bit of imposter syndrome
creeping in.
Even after achieving success. And in that moment, she was like, no, don't do that. You were always meant to be here. It's those moments where having someone stop the spiral saves you, really saves you.
Such a big part of being in a marriage and in a partnership is to hold space for the most vulnerable moments that you have, right? And for that person to be there and meet you where you're at and to sort of give you what you need and to anticipate what you're going to need in that moment. Sometimes you need encouragement or a hype man in your corner. And at other times, you just need someone to listen to you.
Another challenge that a lot of relationships face when you're in the same profession is sometimes jealousy. And I can speak more from my experience. I don't know if Anuja has ever felt envious of me, to be honest with you, but there was a time, early days, when I was in New York and I was working in advertising technology still, and I hadn't really stepped into being a professional actor. And she was doing a musical workshop or a table reading for Meera Nair's musical Monsoon Wedding. They were adapting it for Broadway. And I was at work in ad tech, which is kind of cool, but not that cool. And I felt so excited for her, but I couldn't fully be present in supporting her because it triggered so much insecurity in me. It's like, that's what I want to do. Why am I not doing that? And like, even when she would tell me stories about how her day was, working with Meera and their team and all that. And Vishal Bhardwaj was working on the composition for that musical. Yeah. I was like, tell me more. But it wasn't tell me more so I can celebrate you. It was like, tell me more so I can learn. It was again selfish. It was geared towards myself. Yeah. I remember clocking that and feeling very icky and uncomfortable, feeling envious of my partner, who I love and I want to see succeed so much. But that lit a fire under my ass, and I went and like I eventually quit my job, obviously, and gave a bunch of auditions and put myself in a position where I felt good about myself. But that's something that happens as actors. Like, there was times when Four More Shots Please had just released, and Anuja was waiting tables in New York City, like completely different pages of our career. Recently, she booked a series regular gig on a Hollywood medical drama for Fox. It's like, whoosh, things completely shift. And because we've had that so many times in our relationship, now we get it.
Yeah.
And now we know that we're a team.
Absolutely. And that sense of competition isn't so much there anymore.
Completely gone.
I think how you choose to respond in that moment and the narrative that you tell yourself about your partner's success is what defines your character in that relationship.
Our careers are full of very high highs and low lows. Traversing that alone would have been very tough for me.
Yeah.
But Anuja, she's a partner in the truest sense, like a business partner almost, you know? We're there learning from each other's experiences in the same profession, which is such a boon.
How often do you take work home with you? How often does work eclipse your relationship? I'm curious to know, because like when you work together with your partner, or even if you work in the same profession, do all your conversations devolve into the next film choice that you're gonna make, or what you did at shoot on set that day?
It's challenging, man. You know, an actor married to an actor, like, it's complicated. Because you're right, you can't ever not take your work home with you.
You can't clock out necessarily.
Can't clock out. I mean, like, we can't watch a movie. Right? Like, we can't.
You're like,
yeah, honestly, I watch a movie and it's like, oh, you know what? I was supposed to work with this director. Or like, oh man, did you see what that actor did? Like, I wonder why they lit the scene that way.
Yeah.
That's so weird. Why would they greenlight a script like this? Why didn't they resolve this character arc? Like, they had so many opportunities. Like, you're just always in that conversation. And to be honest with you, like, I'm more guilty of it than Anuja. She's so fed up. She's like, stop pausing the movie. You know, she's like, just let me watch in silence. And yeah, I mean, it's like, it's all the time. And I think that's kind of the nature of being an actor.
How do you find pockets of sacred togetherness that is void of like the work stuff and the practical? How do you find moments to just be together as a unit?
It's really a product of us both being very present in that moment and allowing our love and our friendship take the front seat. And like, it's fantastic. Like, we still have moments 10 years later where we are at 2 a.m. giggling in bed in the dark, talking about things that happened years ago, or chatting about something we just witnessed in our family or in our friend circle. And those late night conversations is where I think work really does take a backseat.
Yeah.
When we kind of turn down for the night, that's usually when it happens.
I'm sure you have filled your lives with countless cherished memories. Is there any particular memory that stands out to you as something that's emblematic of like who you guys are as a couple?
But one that I'll always recall is a moment in New York City. We just started dating. So many big ambitions and dreams in a city that can otherwise make you feel small. This is a huge sea of people.
Brutal.
And it was honestly a kind of a shitty apartment. And outside our bedroom window, like in many New York City apartments, you're just looking at a wall, you know, of another building.
Yeah.
And she and I were standing with the window open, leaning. You would turn all the way in, and if you turned around, you could just catch a little glimpse of the Empire State Building.
Yeah.
And that was a moment where it's just like, I wanna achieve something that great. Something about the Empire State Building and in the dingy apartment, seeing that glimmer of hope and that light. It was a moment where we both, like, I remember I had my arms around her and we were just like, we're gonna do it. We're gonna figure it out. And I think that, like, we're not just gonna figure it out in terms of our ambitions, but we're gonna figure it out together. I knew in that moment, very early on, that this is the person I want to spend my life with. Yeah. Even though we didn't talk about marriage, that was very clear to me.
Yeah. Sort of flip switches and you see that person that way. Like, there are very few people who allow your inner child to come to the fore. And I think it's such a good sign when that very dreamy, starry-eyed, younger version of yourself can come out and just marvel at everything that's coming for you, and like marveling and being in awe of like even the mundane, seemingly banal things that happen on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, it's funny because she and I will catch ourselves sometimes looking at each other still and being like, oh, I'm so lucky. I'd be like, my wife's so hot. I love it. Like, it's, you know, like, we're like, you're such a good person. I'm so lucky that I have you.
Yeah.
And she'll say the same to me. And it's like, there's still a little bit of that wonderment left. Like,
yeah.
You're so cool. I can't believe you chose me.
Yeah.
I can't believe I chose you back, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the cool thing about love, man. I look at love, romantic love, as something very sacred. I think sometimes people are very loosey-goosey with it, and that's okay, to each their own. But not everyone experiences love in that way in their lifetime. You know, it's very easy to just be like, "Ha yaar, theek hai, ye bhi to hai." But she and I have done a decent job of reminding ourselves of like how special what we have is and how special we are to each other.
Yeah.
I think that keeps, I wouldn't say the magic alive, but it keeps the wonderment alive.
Like having an attitude of gratitude.
Yes.
Right? And like actively practicing gratitude and seeking out the positive qualities, and to constantly see that and never take it for granted, or never let your eyes dull to the sparkle that person has every single day. So many people in our audience are single. They may be struggling in the dating world. What is your advice to people out there who maybe are going on a bunch of dates? It's not really going anywhere. What is one thing you'd like for them to know?
And I think that a lot of times people get caught up in some of the superficiality of what they're looking for.
Right.
But really, 25 years from now, it won't matter if your partner is 3 inches shorter or 3 inches taller. No. It just really won't.
Yeah.
I believe strongly, even from a sexual compatibility standpoint, it won't matter. Like, if a person is a good listener, a strong communicator, and really loves you and is eager to please, they will learn your body with time as well.
Yeah.
Like, the sex and the sexual compatibility will also get better with time. Obviously, there needs to be some spark and attractiveness there. I get that. But like, the idea that they need to look a specific way or do something for you is I think just not going to matter in 25 years.
Yeah.
There's so many other things that people are looking at. She's got this like suave grace. She's rich, wealth, height, beauty, caste. Oh, I really love that line that they used.
Or like, I get butterflies.
I get butterflies around them. You connect with so many people all the time. You can still get butterflies. Butterfly is not the foundation for a marriage. Butterfly is not the foundation for a relationship. That's infatuation. You know what I mean? That's what that is.
It doesn't last.
It doesn't last. Yeah. Infatuation won't last. So first start there. Is there a good person? Then see, is there a friendship that's possible here? But you should probably write down, when you're coming up with a list of who you want in your life as a life partner, values more than just physical traits or wealth and other stuff. Like, ambition is also a value. Someone could not be successful now, but has the discipline and the drive to become successful. Like, when my wife met me, I was not successful. She took a chance because she saw the makings of someone who could be successful. Yeah. Someone once told me that if you want to really get to know a partner fast, do an act of service with them. Like, instead of just a date night at a fancy restaurant, go to a soup kitchen, go to an elderly home with them, pick up trash on the beach with them. You learn a lot about someone when you see them in the mode of service to others. Just like, pay attention. How are they? You learn so. Are they giving? Do they have empathy? Do they know how to communicate? In some cases, like, can they get their hands dirty, right? Are they snobby? Are they elitist, right? Are they grounded? Like, you just learn so much.
Exactly. We sincerely value the perspective and experience that you bring to our channel and our audience.
Well, this was fantastic.
Ankur.
Oh, I stole your line. This was fantastic, Chandra. I had such a good time.
I have the tables turned. What's going on? Job chhod dunga.
No, but really, this was wonderful.
I certainly have learned a lot. I'm sure our audience has too. And we hope to have you back again soon. Maybe with your wife next time, so we can see both of you in action together.
Yeah, let's do it.
Thank you, Ankur.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching another episode of Love Handle. If you enjoyed this video, do be sure to hit subscribe, share it with your friends, like the video, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.